Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mafia Me and Sally podcast.
I'm your host, Mafia Mom.
And I am Mini Mafia. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more fire content.
Okay, first off, I just want to start by apologizing to everybody. We were supposed to be on about 29 minutes ago. Unfortunately, ran into some bad luck, followed by some more bad luck with a couple laptops in our house. So I do apologize. Really appreciate you guys staying with or checking it out later on. And again, so sorry for being so behind. Beyond that, hope everybody out there is doing good today. How are you doing, Mini Mafia?
I am doing great.
Yeah. What's been up? And tell everybody what's been going on for the last week. What did we do last week?
Well, last week, obviously, I told everybody we were going to the Bills game. It was amazing in the second half because that's really only the part we saw. So, once we got there, there was literally absolutely no parking. We drove around for like 30 to 45 minutes just trying to find parking. Then we ran into then we got to park in somebody's driveway. We had no idea who the people were for free. They were super nice. We were going to pay them $40, but they said it was no problem. We would park there for free. So we parked there for free, and then the mom drove us to the game, but once we actually got in, two people pointed us in two wrong directions. So then when we actually got to our seats, it was around the end of halftime. Then we just saw the rest.
Yeah, it was definitely a little frustrating getting there. Obviously, all the snow, we weren't going to tailgate, so obviously all the snow had created some issues for parking where there was about half of the parking that there normally is. I was told by a few people that the lots around the stadium filled up by like hours before the game because of people tailgating, obviously. So we drove around looking for a parking spot. It was a disaster. He was getting really upset. I was feeling horrible. We had already paid for these tickets. So I ended up just pulling over in some random person's driveway who was outside and asking them if there was any way we could pay them to park there. As he said, they were so kind, told us yes, gave us a little shuttle service down to the stadium. It was about a mile away, but nicest people I've ever met. So if by some chance you are out there and you are listening, cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. You made my son's night. It was incredible. Thank you so much. So beyond that, how has everything else been going?
Everything has been absolutely great. On Saturday, we had our second basketball game, and we won again.
And Beth said, evening, fam. So evening, Beth. Hope you're doing well out there. Hope you had a great holiday. I know we haven't been live here in a few weeks. So hope everything has been going really good for you and your family.
We won our second game. So now our team is 2-0. And last year we didn't win a single game. So right now the team's confidence is at an all-time high because we didn't win a single game last year. And I think it's because of the fifth graders. The fifth graders are balling out this year. They're amazing.
You also have good coaches.
Yes. I wonder who's coaching us.
I wonder who's coaching. I thought everybody was coaching.
It's my mom and Grace.
So we get to coach and we're having a good time with it. It's definitely been fun, and they're a really good group of kids. And did you tell them the other exciting part about Saturday? Like, what did you do for the first time ever?
I'll get to that.
Okay.
Grace is our awesome tech provider. She's awesome. And on Saturday, I scored my first basket.
This is very exciting.
I ran down the court screaming. I said I was going to be comical and collected about it. I wasn't.
Yeah. So Beth here shares that school has been closed all week, including tomorrow because of the snow. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know if your kids are in school in like a Western New York school. I know that the city and the south towns, even the north towns, some of them have really been hit hard with the lake effect snows. We're about an hour outside of Buffalo. We get really, really rough temperatures, but we don't get the accumulation
I wish we did.
Buffalo gets
right now.
Growing up.
Right now we're getting decent snowfall.
It's a little bit. It's nothing major. And the schools, usually they walk out of the school year with all their snow days or maybe -2. But we've been pretty fortunate. So I hope you guys are staying safe and doing well, and that the kids aren't driving you too crazy, because that can be rough when they're suddenly off of school for an extra week. So hope that's all going well for you, Beth. All right. So anything else you want to share about our last week?
No.
We want to get into this in the Bills-Steelers game?
Yes.
So 1 down, 3 to go, right? It
Three
was
more wins.
quite a performance. Very, very impressive across the board. I mean, the way the offense kept control of the game the entire time, and then the defense, it just seems like it doesn't matter who goes down. Somebody's just there to step up.
And
It
Allen's
was really impressive.
52-yard run, the
crazy.
second longest run by a quarterback in the postseason, I think.
Yeah. Yep. Colin Kaepernick had the first, was like 57, but it was really impressive. It really was. So who would you like to highlight as your players of the game? You want to start with offense or defense?
I'm going to go with my defense.
Okay.
Jackson.
Dave Jackson. Okay, he was mine last week. He's definitely been playing better.
Yes, he has.
Yeah. So the sanity piece is a big part of it, Beth. There for sure. I feel you. Good luck. Try to keep it together. Sometimes you gotta just lock yourself in a bathroom and breathe. I understand. Mother to mother, I get it. So yes, Jackson has been playing well. You want to read that one?
By Beth. They look so good. We need to encore Sunday
We
night.
need an encore Sunday night.
We need an encore Sunday night against KC.
An encore. You mean that's like a repeat? We need
Oh,
to do it
really?
again. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
I could not agree more. I think we need an even bigger game offensively. We kind of stalled there for a little bit in the third quarter. Can't let that happen this week, but I'm with you there, Beth. It was a great performance.
Yes.
So Dane Jackson is your
Jackson
player of the game.
has actually been performing surprisingly well.
Yeah, he was thrown in there. He had some pass breakups. He looked good, right?
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah. So good for him for sure.
Cam Lewis, though.
We'll get into Cam Lewis in a little bit. AJ Klein is going to be my defensive player of the game. And there was a lot of players in defense I could give it to. You know, Elam made 2 really bad plays in a row and then a red zone interception. The defensive line still showed out. I thought that was the best Vaughn had looked all season. But AJ Klein was packing up the RV to head down to the Florida Keys for vacation. Gets a phone call from the Bills saying, "Hey, we need you." He cancels his vacation, comes back on the team. 3 days later, he's on the field because of injuries, and he's playing he might have even been the signal caller at that point on the field. It was just insane. And the fact that he didn't just lead the Bills in tackles, even though he didn't play a full game and he was plucked off of his couch, he also led the entire game in tackles. The guy just flat out outplayed everybody else that was at linebacker and on defense. It was crazy to watch him be thrown in there with no preparation, no work with the defense, and still do that well. Yeah, I'm glad that you made it there. No problem. Go Bills. I don't know if that's Christine that I was talking to or somebody else in the chat, but I'm really glad that you were able to come in, and sorry about being so behind. So definitely they'll go Bills, right?
Yeah, go Bills.
All right. So AJ Klein is going to be my defensive player of the game. He had 6 solo tackles and 4 assisted tackles. So he balled out, and we're probably going to need another game from him this week if he's on the field. Yeah, he was. So he was the signal caller. That's what I thought, although being at the game, and then I did watch it once when I came home, but I wasn't paying as close of attention. So thank you for that confirmation there, Beth. That's impressive, man. You go from packing your family up to go on vacation to having the green dot on the back of your helmet, and you still do that well. Very impressive. So thank you for clarifying that for me, Beth. So offensive player of the game. Who is your offensive player of the game?
I will let you do this one.
Okay. Mine's an obvious one, and it kind of feels like cheating to do this, but Josh freaking Allen, man. I mean, that guy he gets in playoff games, and he is just a different beast. Like, he is the only quarterback in NFL history to average at least 250 passing yards and 50 rushing yards in the postseason.
He's just built it.
He also just had his third game of at least 4 touchdowns and no turnovers. Now, there's only 2 other guys who've ever had 3 of those games. Nobody's had 4. That's Pat Mahomes and Joe Montana. If anytime you're on a list with Joe Montana, Pat Mahomes, and you're doing something right. And keep in mind, Allen just played his 9th playoff game. That means 1 out of every 3 playoff games Allen's had, he has had 4 touchdowns and no interceptions, something most quarterbacks can't dream of in the postseason. Pat Mahomes has played 15 playoff games, and Joe Montana played 23.
By Beth Kincaid, I mean, if I'm not picking Josh Allen, you done?
Yeah. Go ahead. Because Beth is reading your mind now, too.
Beth, you might be edging on to the same person as me now, too, because I also picked Kincaid. He had 3 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. Those catches were big, though.
He seems to have a knack for being the guy in the moment. Him and Shakir have just been super impressive for being such young players on the team. That when we really need a play, you can just tell Josh trusts him on the same level he trusts Diggs. But you can't double Kincaid and Diggs and Shakir. One of them are going to have single coverage, and they come through in the big moments. So
I completely forgot about Shakir. I actually might have picked him considering the play he made.
That last touchdown was crazy.
He almost got tackled. I thought his butt touched the ground at first.
That was impressive. Do you read Beth's comments there about Kincaid?
Yeah. Beth said he doesn't look like a rookie. He really doesn't.
Totally agree.
He looks like he's in his third or fourth year.
He honestly knocks with the drop again because sometimes his hands are made of brick, I guess. He has made more rookie mistakes over his time with us than Kincaid has. But I'm not going to pick on Knox because I have some good things to say about Knox in a little bit.
I completely forgot about Shakir. I thought his butt touched the ground, but it didn't. So I was completely I forgot the word.
Impressed?
Yes, that.
And then Anthony here, I think he agrees with you because he's saying Shakir gave us the touchdown we needed. Yeah, that was the moment where it never felt like the game was out of control, but it was getting close. They were down 7. The defense was so banged up, and they were just targeting the best player on whatever team we're playing, which is Cam Lewis. Drives me crazy. I can't even with this guy. At least Dane Jackson at his worst would still make plays occasionally, but get beat most of the time. Cam Lewis is just a liability. He does nothing good, nothing helpful out there to the Buffalo Bills. Drives me absolutely crazy. But you're right. Shakir was there at the end of the game when we really needed a play because the game is on the line now. He's the one that made it. And that was an incredible run. Even after he kept his balance from Minkah Fitzpatrick, who, just a little side note here, Minkah Fitzpatrick has had a couple of rough games against Buffalo. Last year, he's got Gabe Davis wrestling the ball away from him and on the goal line. And now this year, Shakir just slides out of that tackle. I mean, just saying, if I'm Minkah, I don't want to play the Bills anymore. But, when we really needed to play at the end of that game to put that game away and leave no doubt that we deserve to move on, Shakir was the one who made it. But even after he slips out of the tackle, he still had to make moves to get into the end zone. There's still 4 Steelers between him and the end zone.
He just juked them.
He managed to get through. He's got great balance, great speed, great hands. I like Shakir a lot. I've liked him since we've drafted him, and I'm glad to see he's starting to be featured in our offense.
Me
right?
too.
So again, mine is Josh Allen. Yours is Dalton Kincaid. Anything else you want to share about the Steelers game before we move on to your favorite segment?
No, just Dalton Kincaid is my boy.
Yeah, definitely like him. He's an exciting guy to watch. I'm glad they're finally starting to use him downfield a little bit more. Feel like at first, especially with Dorsey, they weren't exactly sure where to use him.
He was just putting him on block.
Yeah, he's really stretching the field at times now, and it's not just 3, 5, 10-yard routes. He's going deep. And I think that's important because he creates a serious mismatch. And if you're going to play the size with him, then it's a speed mismatch. And the only way to be able to take advantage of that is to send him deep. So I'm really glad to see that Joe Brady seems to be really figuring out how to use Kincaid in a more effective way.
Dalton Kincaid has the size of a tight end, but the speed of a wide receiver and the agility of a Beasley.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Yeah, not Beasley, but he has he's really dangerous downfield. He shows he's more like a receiver than a tight end.
Yeah, he runs great routes. He's got good hands. He understands leverage with the defense. And I think most importantly of everything else, he seems to have great chemistry with Allen. And that means a lot more than just natural ability when you're on the same page as the quarterback. As we have seen many, many times this year, I think it's around 75% of the interceptions that Josh Allen's thrown this year have been when targeting Gabe Davis. That is a crazy high percentage. And that's because at times, no matter who you want to believe is wrong, Davis and Allen are not on the same page. I don't notice that with Kincaid. I also think at this point, it's either him or Shakir have the best hands in the team. They have had the least amount of drops. So I think you got to love the guy, everything he's doing, and he's only going to get better from here. So it's good to see.
Diggs has possibly had his worst season with us this year.
I think he has, but it's still a Pro Bowl level season. He still went over 1,100 yards.
He had 6 straight games with over 100 yards. By Triggers 44, Kincaid reminds me of T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, I could see that. I do think that Hawkinson is a little bit more physical, whereas I think Kincaid has a little bit more finesse to his game. But I can see the comparison for sure. I can't even say he reminds me of a Kelsey anymore. Honestly, if I had to make a comparison, it would probably be a Zach Ertz in his prime. I think Ertz really moved very fluidly and didn't necessarily, not that he shied away from contact, but that wasn't what he did best. Like Kelsey's going to lower the shoulder and run you over. Zach Ertz could make you miss. And I think that's something that Kincaid has in his back pocket. But I think he has the ceiling of being better than Zach Ertz was. And that's saying a lot because I really like Zach Ertz. I think he was one of the best tight ends to play in my lifetime. So I like Zach Ertz a lot. But I think Kincaid's ceiling is just really, really high at this point. I think he could be a record-setting tight end. So we'll see what happens. But moving on now to Factor Flag. This is Mini Mafia's favorite segment. For those of you,
okay, if you don't know how to play, Mafia Mom here. She reads a question, and I have to determine if it is a fact, which I would say fact, or a flag, and I will wave the yellow flag.
Okay. And please feel free to play along in the chat and give your answers as well. So Anthony here, we'll read this comment before we move on to the game.
Anthony Bettis. Gabe Davis is a dimensional receiver.
One-dimensional.
I can't read tonight. I don't know. Is a one-dimensional receiver. He is not a good route runner.
I agree. And I think sometimes he just, I don't know if he gets in his head or what. He's very gifted, but at times you can tell that he just doesn't understand the leverage of the defender. And like Allen, look, I know I'm an Allen defender to a certain extent because I'm a Bills fan, but I am happy to say when Allen screws up, and Allen has screwed up plenty in his career in this year. However, when the defender is on the outside shoulder and Allen throws you to the middle and you cut outside, that's on you. Like, that's just the way it works. Like, that's how leverage works. So I think Gabe Davis he's got a lot of ability and a lot of potential, but there are some issues with his game that I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if he walks after this year, because he's going to get a big contract from a different team. I also don't think, out of all the injuries we have right now, I am not worried about it if Gabe Davis can't play this game. I would love him to. I think considering what he did to KC in the past, it could be important, but if he doesn't play, I can live with it. Beth B here, that's your boy she's talking about, so why don't you read it?
By Beth, Diggs' problem this year is that teams now plan to doubt him. They have to
plan to double him.
I don't know why. Now plan to double him. They have to. If they don't, he's beating his man matchup. He is taking attention away from the next man up.
I agree with you to a certain extent. However, according to, I don't personally watch game film, but according to people who do, like Greg Cosell and Dan Orlovsky and things, he's still getting open at times. Now, he has had more drops this year. He's about on the same pace as targets as he was last year. And at times, him and Allen are just not on the same page. You can see it. Allen has missed him on quite a few deep shots. I will also say Diggs has been being doubled since like halfway through the 2020 season. So that's not, and I know we had some more weapons back on that kind of made it harder, but he's still getting open. So we can still get him the ball. But I don't think it's a horrible thing that we're not force feeding it to him anymore. Let other guys step up and make a play, and Diggs will open up naturally. Allen just needs to hit him on a few more of those deep shots. And Triggs 44 says, I mean, that was Kincaid's comp coming out as Zach Ertz. Oh yeah, and I may have seen that during the draft. I saw him compared to a few different guys, but I definitely see it in just the way he moves. If you put a side-by-side video of Zach Ertz running down the field with the ball and Kincaid, they look very, very similar body language-wise to me. Just the way that they move is not exactly like a tight end. It's just a little different. And Red, White, and Bills here. Go Bills. It's our time. Red, White, and Bills, I love your content. If anybody wants to check out another really great Bills channel, Red, White, and Bills puts out some really cool videos. So thank you for joining us here tonight, and definitely go Bills. All right, moving on to Factor Flag here. Ready?
Yep.
Okay, first Factor Flag. And again, feel free to play along in the chat. Dawson Knox has 2 times as many touchdowns in the postseason for the Buffalo Bills as Stephon Diggs. Factor Flag.
Wait, 2 times?
Yep. So he has double. He has double the amount of touchdown catches as a Buffalo Bill as Stephon Diggs has as a Buffalo Bill.
I think that's a flag because Diggs got like 3 in one game.
Okay. All right. We'll see if anybody see if anybody answers in the chat here. Mini Mafia is calling a flag on this one. Any answers there? Okay. So that is in fact true.
Wow.
It kind of blew my mind. Dawson Knox has had 6 touchdown catches in the postseason since he's been a Buffalo Bill.
Exactly right.
He's had 6, yes.
He said 3.
I'm sorry, Beth. I already answered it for you. But the question was, Dawson Knox has had double the touchdown catches as Stephon Diggs as a Buffalo Bill in the postseason. And the answer was that it is true. Diggs has had 3, but Dawson Knox, has come through really big in the postseason for us. You were yelling at your kids. I understand that. Trust me. No worries. There should be just timeouts in life for us to go yell at our children. I get it. Hooked Up Joe, sup Red White Bills. Oh, thanks for being on the communities. Yeah, so definitely nice when we get a chance to support each other and go into other people's shows and make sure we show support. So I appreciate that a lot. All right, next question. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. Defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo is known for being very aggressive. Okay, he is the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, in case you're not sure. In 6 matchups versus Allen, when Spags blitzes, Allen has 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. What do you think? Fact or flag? So when the Chiefs blitz Allen, he's got 6 touchdowns, 0 picks.
So only when they blitz him.
Only when they blitz.
So like on the blitzing play.
Right.
Okay.
So again, feel free to answer in the chat here. So when Spags blitzes Allen, he's got 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
I feel like that's like really unbelievable, but it's Allen.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say it's true.
You say it's true. Okay. And we do have an answer. So Anthony Betis is also agreeing with you and saying it is true. And we got one more here. We got Triggs44 saying that it is true as well. And you know what? Congrats, because all 3 of you, that is 100% true. Actually, in the last 3 matchups, Allen's passer rating is over 100 when facing the blitz from Spags in the Chiefs games. And Cammy Poo here, 2915, says, I think I am worried about all the players hurt on defense. I do understand that. Fortunately, this has not been a new problem for us. We've been doing it all season, and think they really epitomize the next man up mentality. And I don't know if you missed the beginning of the show, but we were talking about how AJ Klein was on his way to vacation with his kids, got a call from the Bills halfway through the week saying, we need you on our practice squad. And then he ended up being the signal caller on defense and led the entire game in tackles. So, we have a really good group of guys there. And I know there's going to be a breaking point with the injuries. I'm hoping we get a couple back. But so far, they have figured out, and credit to McDermott, has figured out how to hold it together with all these injuries. It's been really impressive.
Daquan Jones hasn't been showing up yet.
And he got 11 tackles. Exactly. And it was just super impressive. Well, 7 solo and 4 assisted. So, yep. And he led the entire game, both teams in tackles. So it was super impressive. All right. You ready for the last factor flag?
Yes.
All right. Anthony Betis is coming to us from Long Island, representing the Bills on Long Island. Well, very, very cool. I love hearing about where Bills fans are from, because we really are worldwide, from all over the place. Maybe not necessarily in this chat right now, but ones I've interacted with in the past. And it's really cool to see how far Bills Mafia has stretched and reached. And it's such a great community. It really is. All right, ready for your last question?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I just hope Benford and Bernard play this weekend.
Yes.
Especially Bernard.
He did pretty good against Kelsey.
I am more concerned about Bernard and Douglas, and it seems like Douglas is leaning towards playing. That's a very, very big deal to me. But I think the key to this matchup is going to be to make the Chiefs one-dimensional and make them beat us with the pass. If we can take Pacheco out of the game and make them pass it, I do not believe that they have proven this year that they can sustain offense through the pass game.
If you basically just take away Pacheco and Kelsey,
you're good. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Rice is stepping up, but he's a young guy, first playoffs in a hostile environment. That's going to be tough for him.
By Spears Bills Sports Talk. Allen vs. Mahomes and playoffs, part 3.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. And part 7 of their overall matchups. Okay, so last question here. So everybody knows this is Mahomes' first road playoff game, period. Now this season, Mahomes has 27 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Those are his totals. On the road this season, though, he has not been good. He has only 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. So that is a much rougher ratio there than the 27 and 14, which is almost 1 to 2. He's got 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. What do you think?
Wait, so is the factor flag part about the 10 and 8?
Yep, 10 and 8. Yep, everything else is true. He does have 27 and 14. I'm asking you if you believe that he only has 10 touchdowns and 8 interceptions on the road.
How many road games has he played?
Well, they play half of their season on the road. So it's either 8 or 9. I can't remember if the AFC was on the road for the extra game this year or not.
So around 8 or 9, that would mean he only has around 6 interceptions on 7 or 8 games and 17 touchdowns.
Yeah, it would mean at home he has 17 and 6, yes. So what do you think? Fact or flag? Anybody in the chat answer, or are you waiting for him? Okay.
I would say that's a fact. I'm gonna say you're gonna go with all facts.
Okay, we got Spears Bills talk believes it is a fact. Okay. All right. So both of you are correct. That is in fact true. I did go with all true ones tonight. You know, there were some interesting things that I wanted to make sure I worked in, and these were some of them. I also want to point out on turf, which is what the Bills play on right now when we move to our new stadium, it'll be grass. Mahomes has 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So again, bad numbers. And then this is the one that really was eye-popping to me. This is all regular season, of course. This does not count the game last week, although that was at home and not on turf. But this next one would be impacted by that. In the regular season this year, when the temperature was lower than 40 degrees, which it 100% will be for this game, in those games, Mahomes only had 3 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So considering they're a cold weather team and they play in the cold all the time and all that, those are not good numbers. That's not what you want to see from your quarterback. So let's see if between the very hostile environment, because I know Mahomes has played on the road before, he hasn't played in an environment like what he's going to see out of Bills Mafia.
Especially not in the playoffs.
First of all, he's never played in front of Bills Mafia because the only time he came here was 2020 with the COVID season. Number 2, he's never been on the road in a playoff game, and the intensity goes through the roof in a playoff game. They have some young players on that team, and
like Rasheed Rice.
Yes, and I think that Pacheco's never played a road playoff game. I think that this could create some challenge. Yeah, he won the Super Bowl last year. I think this could create some challenges for them that they can't really foresee because they've never been in this position. So if you're going to the game or you know somebody who's going to the game, it is literally your job to make life as difficult as possible for Mahomes. Okay? Scream, bang on seats, make noise, whatever you got to do. Make sure that he is aware every moment of that game that he is not playing in Kansas City, that he is playing in Buffalo, and we do not like him. Okay? So please do your part, Bills Mafia. All right. So congratulations, 2 and 1 out of Factor Flag. So we're going to move on to our Josh Allen stat line here. I'll have to reread this question. Bernard ankle sprain is lower, not high, but an air cast was put on during the game, which makes it a serious sprain. Very doubtful for the game. I know he was doubtful. I think the air cast was more of a precaution during the game. They weren't sure. They x-rayed it. He was clearly in a lot of pain. Also, a lot of these guys will wear air casts or walking boot just for protection and extra stability, even when they are going to play. For example, look at the video of Tyreek Hill when his house was burning. The video there, he's in a boot. He played that weekend. He was good enough to play, but they do it to just give him some extra protection while they're not on the field and not practicing. So I know right now they haven't. Bernard hasn't practiced yet. I'm really hoping we can get him back. If not, we need Douglas back. That, to me, is the biggest piece on defense right now. We need to have Douglas back there because I think he did a better job on Kelsey than anybody else's, but we'll get to that in a moment. Okay, so real quick, before we get into our Josh Allen stat line, I want to recap from last week. So I did not get my prediction for Josh Allen correct. I was over on the yards passing, under on the yards rushing. I think I had too many touchdowns, and I had not enough touchdowns, and I had a turnover, which he didn't have. However, Mini Mafia, who was off on the yards a little bit. However, you predicted 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and 0 turnovers. So congratulations, you got that dead on. You even said on last week's show, you said, "What happens if I get this exactly on?" And I was like, "I don't know, we'll see." So you got that part of it right on. So this week here, Josh Allen stat line, please feel free to share yours in the chat.
You go first.
Me go first. Okay. I think that this will be one of the biggest games of Josh Allen's career. I think the way that we look back at that Patriots playoff game in 2021 and that Chiefs playoff game, the 13 seconds game, and his performance, I think this will go into that category. I think Josh is focused in a way that we have not seen him before. So I am conservatively predicting 310 passing yards. I think it's possible he gets up higher than that. I am conservatively predicting 50 rushing yards. I think it's very possible he's closer to 70. And I think Josh Allen is going to account for 5 touchdowns in this game and no turnovers.
Flag.
I just think that why would you say flag to that?
No, it's everything but the 0 turnovers.
Well, how about don't we want that though? That stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so why are you jinxing me?
Because I think it's gonna be something.
Better knock on wood. I know you think it's gonna be something else. But how cool would it be if he had five TDs and no touchdown, no turnovers?
That would
be amazing.
But I think it's gonna be something else.
So I really think Allen's gonna ball out. I think this is going to be a day this is going to rocket him, propel him into that. No doubt he is a top 2 quarterback in this league, and he shows up when the games matter most. I think that's how this game is going to be seen after Sunday.
I think my Josh Allen stat line is going to be 326 yards, 31 for 40, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 53 rushing yards, and 1 rushing touchdown.
Okay, so you think he's going to account for 4 touchdowns again and 1 turnover? So we're not far off.
And 379 yards in total.
Okay, well we're not far off there. We're pretty close there. So again, if you have a Josh Allen stat line that you want to predict and share with us, please share it down in the chat. Last week on our hot takes, both of us were wrong about our offensive hot takes. Essentially, I predicted a Cook score. I did think he was going to be a big part of the offense, which I think he was. The run game was. However, I thought he was going to get in the end zone. He did not. Mini Mafia predicted Diggs was going to have over 100 yards and get in the end zone. He did not.
I don't think he was even close to 100 yards.
I don't know. However, and then on defense, Mini Mafia thought that we were going to have 5 sacks. We only had 1, but we did apply a lot of pressure to Rudolph. However, my defensive prediction was that Rudolph would have 1 interception. The Steelers would have 2 turnovers total. Should have been 3. I'm going to be starting on the refs. I did, however, get it wrong that Hyde or Poyer would be the one that benefited from that interception.
She got 75% of it.
So I'm pretty close to being right there. And I thought, to be honest with you, credit to the Steelers and to Rudolph, because I thought Rudolph actually played a pretty decent game. Even the pick, it was a rough one. Elam made a really great play on it. Obviously, the 2 fumbles, the one that they actually got right and the other one that they somehow got the call wrong, even in review, but never really explained how that was a fumble out of bounds because
Spector landed in bounds.
I guess they were supposedly it touched his helmet, but there's no way you could see that. But it doesn't matter. Either way, the game's over. But forcing the turnovers and just being I feel like our defenders are hyper aware of constantly going for the ball in a way that maybe they weren't in past seasons. And I think it's paid off because I think we forced a lot more fumbles this year. I don't know if the stats bear that out, but I think we have. And we've constantly had numerous people around the ball to recover it when that ball does come out. So good for them.
Also, if you look back at some of the interceptions, the defenders are looking back at the ball. On Benford's first interception, he was looking back at it.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what kind of coverage they're in. Sometimes they can look at the quarterback. Sometimes they can't. Like if they're in a zone, generally they can keep their eyes on the quarterback, which is why it's harder for a quarterback to run in a zone. If they're in man-to-man, usually they're watching the guy they're covering.
Like sometimes you say that they never look back for the ball, so now they've been looking back for the ball.
Gotcha. I'm glad to see that they are doing that more often. It does seem like they have been doing that more. You're right. I wasn't sure where you were going with that one. Sorry. So how's Tasker doing? Yeah, can you hear him barking out there? He is not a fan of us knocking on the table, so that's what got him going. He's a giant pain in the butt, but he's really cute, and he's named after my favorite ex-Bill. So I guess we'll have to love him.
She did meet at my JK football.
I did get to meet him. Yes.
I also met Steve Tasker.
Yes. All right, so on to our hot take for this week. Would you like to go first or second? Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, Allen, and I guess this is kind of already obvious given what I said about Allen's stat line, but Allen is one of 3 quarterbacks to have 3 games with 4 touchdowns and no interceptions. I think he's going to break that record against Mahomes this week. And I think he will be the only QB with 4 games with no turnovers and at least 4 touchdowns. So that is going to be my offensive hot take. I'm not sure how hot it is, to be honest with you, given how Allen's playing, but that's the one I'm going with. Go ahead.
I want you to do yours again next.
Oh, okay. So my defensive hot take, I think that Von gets a sack or makes an important, impactful play this week on defense. I think that he looked better against the Steelers than he has all season. He looked faster off the snap. He looked more physical. And I think that given what Von has been able to do in the playoffs through his whole career, I think that it's not unreasonable to expect him to make some plays on Sunday. And I think that he will. I think he's going to have an impact in this game.
Okay, so my hot take for offense is over 500 yards of total offense.
Okay.
And my defensive is 3 D-line deflected passes.
Okay. All right. So Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones and Miller and Epinesa all can get their hands up, right?
I think Epinesa is going to get at least 1 because he's been doing that really well the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
And he's especially been doing it against Mahomes.
Yeah, he's
I think he has like 4 interceptions doing that against Mahomes.
No. I think he has like 2 or 3 interceptions in his career. I don't know if he even has one against Mahomes. Rousseau.
He definitely has one against Mahomes.
Okay, maybe Rousseau intercepted one like that on Mahomes. But maybe Epinesa did too. That's possible. But he definitely doesn't have 4 of them. All right. So hot takes: Allen, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Von getting a sack or making an impactful play. Hot takes for Mini Mafia: we have D-line with at least 3 pass deflections. And what was your other one? Oh, offense over 500 total yards. Now, one last prediction that was made last week that I just want to point out. So last week, I predicted that the Bills were going to win 27-17, which I got the score wrong. However, I said that it was going to be a game that we didn't really have to sweat, that the Bills would be in control from the beginning of the game, and the Steelers, they might make it interesting, but it was never going to feel like the game was out of our control. And I think that we can all agree that that's pretty much how the game went down. So I do feel like I got that one right enough, other than I was a little off on the score. I said 27-17. It was 31-17. So this week, do you want to do score predictions first or second? And if you have a score prediction, please share it in the chat.
I will go second.
Okay. So my score prediction for the week. Bruce Smith will be at the game. Well, that's going to say Bruce.
Oh yeah.
We can share that.
Yeah. So one of our basketball.
Hang on. I asked the kids if they wanted, the kids on our basketball team, I asked if they wanted to name the plays after Bills players or after Candy, and they picked Bills players. Oh, Mafia Sports Report predicted 27-10 last week, so you were real close up until half of our defense was in the locker room getting treatment, and then they managed to move the ball down the field and score. Go ahead. So about the play, about Bruce.
Yeah, so one of our plays, it's a box play, inbounds play, is Bruce. And if you call that out, you get like something special or something.
I said bonus points if you call the play out Bruce and not just say Bruce.
Yeah. So we have boxing Bruce and lining Lynch. So because we have another play called Lynch, it's a line play.
Okay, so this game, Mafia Sports Report, has a score prediction at 30-20 Bills. So I could live with that. That seems like a nice coast to victory game. 10 points. I could definitely live with that. I gotta say, I know the Patriots. I'm sorry, the Chiefs went out and won by 19 points last week, but I do not believe they looked impressive. I really, really don't. So if we play our game and we don't hurt ourselves, I feel good about this game. I feel more confident than I have against the Chiefs any other time, regular season or playoffs. My score prediction is a little bit closer than Mafia Sports Reports there. I believe that it is going to be a close game. I think what'll happen is one of two things. Either one team will get up big, or the Bills will get up by like 7 to 10 points early, and then the Chiefs will be playing catch up the whole game and just not be able to quite take the lead. Or you'll have one team jump out to like a 10-0 lead or 13-0 lead, and then it's going to be a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Either way, I see this game ending 27-24 Bills, and the Bills moving on to the AFC Championship game, either hosting Houston or in Baltimore, which should be the Houston-Baltimore game should also be an interesting game. But
I personally think Houston's going to
you
win.
do? Okay. Interesting. I mean, they're the underdogs, but they look fiery. They got some spunk.
To be fair, they were also the underdogs in the Cleveland
They
game.
absolutely were. You're right.
And they
were at home, though.
They were at home, but then again, they also dominated the Browns.
And now C.J. Stroud is going to have to go to a cold weather outdoor stadium, and that Baltimore defense is legit. I know the Browns defense is, but the Browns defense did not play as good on the road this year as they did at home.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm a little bit worried about.
But C.J. Stroud, man, give the guy credit. And Jordan Love, like, good for them. Going in and getting, man, the Dallas Cowboys.
46 to, I'm pretty sure it's 46-38.
I don't know, but the Dallas Cowboys are
they
just
got
a friggin'
obliterated.
mess. Like, I don't know what is going on with that organization. It's crazy. And you lost at home. You kept saying, if we could just get games at home, and you got games at home, and what happened? And then, of course, the Dolphins finished their late season self-destruction by getting whooped by the Chiefs and not even essentially showing up to that game.
And unfortunately, the Eagles got eliminated.
They did. That was a rough game to watch. So what is your Bills?
36-9 Bucks.
Yeah. What is your score prediction for the Bills-Chiefs game this week?
I think it's going to be a close game, but high scoring. Like Mafia Mom said here, it's going to be back and forth. I have it going 38-35 for Tyler Bass kicking the game-winning field goal.
Okay, well, he needs some redemption after last week, right?
Yeah, he missed it.
Yeah, and just for the record, one last thing I want to say about last week's game, and then we're probably going to close it up here. I understand Sam Martin got hurt, and that's very unfortunate. He was punting really, really well for us. If you were going to bring in a different punter, why not give Matt Araiza another shot? Like, I don't understand. The guy did nothing wrong. He's now been completely proven innocent, and his career was just ruined, and you never thought of calling him in. So Scott Blakely's got a lot of confidence here. What's Scott Blakely's prediction?
99-0 Bills win.
Yeah, Bills by $1 billion, right? Forget these little rinky-dink scores. Bills by $1 billion.
Bills by $1 billion scores.
That works for me.
7 billion points.
The bigger this victory is, the more I can breathe halfway through the game. I am totally on board for that.
And the more I can crap on the Chiefs.
Yeah. And I would rather not feel like my heart's going to explode in the fourth quarter. If we could avoid that, I'm all for it. Like, let's do that. I don't need the nausea and all that. Keep that. I'll save that for the Super Bowl. Let's just get a convincing victory this week. So, anything else you want to add before we close this one out?
No.
Okay. Well, again, thank you guys so much for your patience in the beginning, and I do apologize for being so late. Hopefully we'll get all of our tech issues figured out here, and next week we won't have to worry about that, which hoping to be back next week.
Very much hoping.
We need a victory so that we have another game to prepare for.
I love doing this every week.
It's a lot of fun. So thank you guys again for being with us tonight and sharing your thoughts and opinions and having a conversation with us. And until next time, go Bills. Go Bills.
Bye-bye.
See, Peter, he's too fast.
You gotta tackle me. It's B. You gotta press B.
I'm pressing B. He's too fast.
Going over here? Going over here now? Never get tired.